name's Mark Cesare. I'm a business development manager at eSkilled, and I work with the AI course creator, but I also work with our student and learning management systems. The one thing to note here, the AI course creator is not a learning management system, right? We have a separate learning management system that you can purchase, but you can always speak to me after the session if there is anything you want to discuss about that. It should connect to most learning management systems, depending on their availability. So let's talk to that. So session overview. Firstly, what is AI course creator and how is it different? We're going to do a practical demo, including creating a course. I've got an example course here, editing themes and sharing that course. The pricing. If you have any questions, obviously ask them as we go, and I'll hopefully be able to answer them. And then, of course, I'll give you a free trial as well for 14 days at the end of the session with a special promo code to give you a discount off of that. So, firstly, what is AI Course Creator and how is it different? So, firstly, it's an AI powered authoring tool. So, we're going to author e-learning content. Um, there's a user-friendly interface. It's got AI-assisted editing as well. How is it different? It's trained by our instructional design team. So, what we found in creating content for the vet space in Australia for quite some time is that is that design in terms of the vet sector is very different from general course design. So what we've done is we've trained it with our tell, show, do methodology. So provide content, practical examples, case studies or scenarios, and then a formative quiz. So that's what this tool will do for you. It has beautiful and custom themes. You can customize your themes with your own logos and fonts and colors and all that. The other big difference is it scaffolds the course with images and flip cards built directly into the overall design. Now, images aren't just stock images. We have diagrams, we have, all sorts of things, even video content search from YouTube. So it will scaffold the course beautifully in terms of design. And it publishes into any LMS or just about any LMS via SCORM or integrating it via LTI. So if you don't understand what that is, SCORM is a file type that most e-learning content is created, and that will allow you to import it into pretty much any LMS. Most LMSs have SCORM uploaders, so you can do that. It also integrates via LTI. So LTI is sort of how it can sort of be a window into the tool or into the system. So the idea of LTI is that it will maintain as you upgrade or edit the course, it'll maintain that same edited. It'll include the upgrades of the course in there. So LTI is a really good way to connect, and a lot of systems will have LTI these days. Now, one thing to note here: SCORM is only available. SCORM Downloader is only available on the annual subscription. Otherwise, you would have to connect via LTI if you want to go monthly. So that's just to note. We can talk through that a little bit. I'll show you how it works later. So let's see it in action. So firstly, actually I've actually created a version of it. I've actually done this already, but let's start at the start. So everyone that signs up, even to the trial, will get access to their own eSkilled AI course creator portal. And you'll have your own subdomain into that portal. So it'll be your own locked portal. When you go to create a course, you can hit create a course here. When you do that, it starts you on a step-by-step process. So I've pre-filled it so we don't have to worry about you watching me type out all of these responses. So hopefully that'll make this process go a little bit quicker. But the first thing I wanted to touch on is that there's two different course creation types, and this is down here, down the bottom here. Course creation type. We have creative and we have document conversion. So if I go to document conversion, what that means is I can upload a learner guide into the system and it will just convert that into an e-learning file. So it's really important that you can understand the difference between creative and document conversion. I think the difference is that with creative, it creates the content for the course, or it will generate every bit of content for the course, right? Whereas document conversion just copies the course into an e-learning file. So it uses the AI to structure the course rather than to create it. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so let's go through this. Firstly, course name. So I've decided to do a BSB unit from an early childhood diploma. So this gives you an idea. Mostly BSB units are sort of business and project management and that sort of thing. But I've decided to do it because of the contextualization benefits here. So this is for an early childhood diploma of early childhood, and I've decided to also do in Brisbane, like Brisbane based. So just know that you can do whatever locations you want, all those things. So firstly, I've copied the unit in. I've added a little bit for early childhood. I've also edited some content from the training from the unit, from the TGA unit to prompt it, right? So I've copied this, but I've also made it saying individuals work at a managerial level at a long daycare center in Brisbane. All right. So that's added on to create extra context for this particular unit. Right. I think I've used it. You can get quite complex with your course audience. You can do levels, but just understand there's also a reading level later. So you just want to be able to back up everything that you say in these things. Describe your course in detail. I've gone pretty basic here. Know that you can add extra detail, but don't go too heavy on the detail here because it may end up contradicting and then creating hallucination. So it's a good point to say that you've got attachments to create the detail of your course. But generally you would go fairly basic in this, but you can throw in a little bit of detail there. I've added in as part of a diploma of early childhood in Brisbane, right? Um, that's the unit itself, right? So that's the training unit. Understand that if you're not doing an accredited unit, you don't have to. You can just type in general language here. You don't necessarily have to do a unit itself. Next thing, I'm going creative here and I'm attaching files. Now I've attached already the unit of competency, but you can add all sorts of file types. Now I've got a couple of examples. I'm going to show you where you've got a non-accredited unit as well, and I've added in curriculum documents, learner resources as well. Um, I have a client that uses learner resources and uploads a PowerPoint file or a PDF of a PowerPoint file into the system to generate a fleshed out course based on what they generally teach in person. So that's a really good idea to do. So uploading PowerPoints are a good handy hint. Obviously, curriculum documents. Now, if you're just doing, it's generally really good when you do unit by unit here. But if you're doing a clustered unit of competency, you need to make sure that you structure all the course content into a curriculum document that you upload here so that it knows that you're doing multiple units, not just one. Um, really important part of that there. And of course, I've already updated the unit here so that you get an idea of that. All right, no questions. That's good. Feel free to ask questions. The little question mark bubble at the top will let you ask those questions. So feel free to ask. Next step. Step 2 is course context. So, excuse me. So, course depth and breadth. The first question here is about how much text do you want in the course, right? If you want a whole lot of text, you'll find that it'll generate you a lot of text if you want, right? Um, but I go standard mainly, but you can go comprehensive. That'll give you a lot more text, right? Comprehensive will give you a good amount of text. If reading level, I've put in standard. Difficult is university graduate level language. We always like to sort of drop down the language a little bit to cater for any learners that are doing the course. So I've gone standard here. I would have been tempted to go fairly difficult because most of these are managerial positions, so they've probably got some sort of degree or or something. So I may be tempted to go fairly difficult here, but I'm just going standard for this one just to give you an idea. Language. There's 96 different languages, so you can choose any language here. There's a whole lot of choice in terms of language. It's just know when you type in a language here or you put in a language here, it will actually generate based on that language. It'll generate that language. It's not translating, it's just generating. And you're not going to be able to just go, here's the exact same course in another language. That's for a translation tool to do. This will generate you in that language with that country context as well, which is really important. Tone of voice, you can go casual, professional, funny. I like encouraging mostly. I'm just doing professional for this one. And then other contextual considerations. That'll give you things like political, social. Um, it's essentially it's really trying to get an idea of the contextual considerations for your case studies and scenarios, mainly, but also for a little bit of the content as well. So you're tailoring the course, really important, because I think, and this is why I've used this unit too, because this is a BSB unit, but it's part of an early childhood degree diploma. So the, you'll find that BSB will often target. They'll have different business. Um, Business contexts. So this, especially if you're purchasing, you'll notice that. So with this, you'll be able to generate it based on your context that you're after, which is really important. Next thing, step three, course settings. How does it look? What things am I allowing for here? So firstly, I've done a category that gives you the category is really important for searching for your courses. So you can create your own categories here. If you just type one in that's not there, it'll generate it. It'll create a new category. Um, but it also allows you to search as well. It's like a search button as well. So you can search and you can type in new categories. It will then allow you to filter in the main menu on the categories. For navigation, I've done free here. The reason I've done free is for this trial. You'll find that mostly you'll do linear navigation because you want them to progress in an order. But if you do free navigation, it allows you to just select whichever subtopic. So I've done it free just for this trial, but yeah, mostly you use linear. We want to include videos. That'll then search YouTube for relevant videos in each section. It's not going to generally do that. It's not going to do that always, but it'll do it if it's warranted in the course. We're going to include images. This is really important. I would encourage everyone to use images. The reason being is it's not just creating stock images that you're going to add anyway. You can add for free. This image gen engine is also going to generate you diagrams and things like that. So it's going to scaffold the course really nicely with the images. So I would encourage you to do that. Learning objectives, obviously, that's just a title page about what each topic is going to cover. Include case studies. We're going to do that definitely. And select a course theme. Now, completely customizable themes. I'll go through it once we've hit generate here. But yeah, I'm going to use playful for this one. Quiz settings. This gives you a formative quiz. Very important. Formative quiz. It's not going to do your summative quizzes, guys. You still have to do those in your LMS. Or yet anyway. It won't do summative quizzes yet. But yeah, formative. Combination of true or false, single multiple choice, fill in the blanks, and matching type. I've done that. Now, if I hit generate, the first step of this process is to generate me a topic outline. Right? That's going to be the first page that pops up here. Um, After a little bit, he's painting, the ebot's painting his masterpiece. He's a cool little painter here. The next step he'll be cooking, but yeah, the first step is literally just giving you a course outline. This doesn't take long. So yeah, as soon as that's done, we'll get to that. And then I'll show you here's one I prepared earlier. So we'll do that too. Themes, just quickly while we're waiting for that. You'll notice that if I click course themes here, you've got an option for all these themes. We give you a bunch by default, right? But you can edit or you can create your new themes. Yeah, I'll just edit, say, right in here. Just look at that. You can go through information for the cover page. There's a theme style, which is basically the front cover page and the completion page. Right? The cover page is actually going to be generated automatically for every generation, but you can override that later if you need to. This is the theme style. You'll notice that it gives you options to graduate even the start button, the the font, colors, all of that. Completion pages, obviously this would be, you'd want to change this one. Generally, content banner gives you options for all the banners that sit at the top of each section. Course builder settings. This is like all the fonts and colors of the text. And then, and then also on the left hand side here, you got image settings. So it'll like round the corners of the image or make it opacity or whatever. Table settings. What does the tables look like? Interactive activities. How do they sort of look, and what sort of hotspot icons that you have? Content padding settings. Basically all the setting types. It gets quite granular in terms of detail. Even on the left hand side, menus, colors, settings, fonts. All that. Course heading. So that's the corner piece that you'll see, and topic headings there too. So that's all the themes there. Okay, let's come back to this. Where are we? Success. Okay, so he's created his masterpiece topics list. You'll notice with images, generally you're using, this is going to be relevant later when I talk about pricing. So I'll just touch on it now, just so that you get your idea on how much generation credits it uses. This is a guess. It will vary very dramatically depending on the unit that you're delivering, if it's accredited or not. There's a whole lot of question marks as to how many generation credits it uses. So trial it and see how many it uses so you get an idea. But the idea is this one here is just under 1 million. I think 1 million's a good benchmark example for how many it uses, but feel free to use however many. If you get a lot more detailed or you go comprehensive, of course, it's going to use more credits. The more you add to it is also going to use more credits. So just know that if you use more credits, don't be discouraged by that, because more credits just generally means that you've wanted more detail in it, and that's fine. Topics and subtopics. You can also sort of move these things around. So if I drag this, I can make this its own topic or whatever. It's not going to go exactly by elements and performance criteria. It's going to be a little bit nuanced. It's going to know a little bit more about the topics than rather than just go topics, subtopics as elements and performance criteria. So just so you know, it will be a bit more nuanced than that. When I hit quick generate, this is what takes the time. It takes generally, depending on the course itself, it takes about 20 minutes to generate you a course. So we'll come back to this later on in the session and see where we've got to. In the meantime, I'll go through some of the other things that we wanted to discuss, right? So give it, I think it's like 24 topics from memory. So it'll take not quite 20 minutes, this one. So this is the one, this is one I just use the same stuff and I've hit go. So this is an example of what I've just created, right? And I've literally just created it 10 minutes ago. So haven't even looked at it yet. But you'll notice we've got the unit. When we go to start, we've got learning objectives, which is just like, actually, what I might do is just show you it in preview mode. I'm going to do that just so you can see what it looks like as a preview. So this is sort of how it would come out on a desktop. You've got previews for tablet or mobile. How it changes the perspective of the the space. I'm going to start. Learning objectives are like accordions, and you can edit those as well. This is the topic, and then there'll be subtopics. So topics don't generally have a lot of text, but you get the idea. Some accordions, bit of an image. These images are all AI generated, right? Notice they've referenced it. A Brisbane Long Day Care Centre team leader updates daily operations plan, you know, practical implementation. It's got flip cards. So this is just, and a quick video for a high performing team. Look at that. Now, this is where you get most of the content and diagrams and things like that. So this one here, you'll see it's generated a beautiful diagram. This is all AI generated, aligned with the NQS standards. There you go. Our Place Queensland Early Learning Framework, right? They sort of generate your own sort of images as well. Flip cards, diagrams, really handy stuff. And again, all video content. And here's the quiz. Great. So you can move on. I didn't allow it to progress on the wrong answer. You can do that. That's one of the options in the settings. I forgot to do that. Normally I do that for the trial ones, but yeah, you get the idea. More diagrams. So yeah, that's how it looks. Do I have any questions on any of that? I feel like we've not had many questions so far. Hopefully everyone's getting a good idea of everything. You'll notice at the top here, you've got some navigation menus. So course settings, that'll be your step-by-step prompting, right? So you can edit those and regenerate. Edit topics. This will allow you to edit and move topics around. Just remember, I would do that at the start before you generate. If you can, save you generate using generation credits if you don't need to. Preview link will take you to that page in the preview, and download SCORM. Again, this is only available for the annual subscription. Right? Now, into one of these subtopics and see what's possible in terms of feature processing. Cheryl asked, does it build in simulated organizational docs? Not at this stage, Cheryl. That is something that we are doing. We'll give you case studies and scenarios, but not simulated businesses, not yet. You'll notice that there's a tab here called Training Resource Creator. You won't have that yet, but eventually we will release a Training Resource Creator, which will create summative assessment tasks, RPL, simulated businesses, all of that side of things as well. Learner guides, separate paper-based learner guides, all that will be Training Resource Creator. This is really just creating this e-learning file at this stage. Now, let's say I don't like this text and I want it to edit this text, you can use AI to edit text as well. So you can go expand text, bullet point, summarize, or you can do a prompt edit. So I could click it and prompt what I want it to say, like prompt an alternative or how I want to edit it. Text to speech will give you an audio file of the text being read out. Oh, sorry, I got questions here. Sorry, so the assessments are created in a different tool. Sorry, Beck asks, so the assessments are created in a different tool. So Beck, this will give you formative assessment tasks. It will not do your summative assessment tasks. That'll generally be done in your LMS, or when we have our training resource creator, you'll be able to create those in there. But either way, you'll have to add them to a learning management system. So generally, your summative assessment tasks will be built into your LMS, not in this tool. This is really just learner guides online and a bit of formative assessment. All right. Hopefully that answers that question. Feel free to ask a follow up if you want. Craig asks, can I use this to create an updated version of a current SCORM course? I have not found a way to upload current SCORM to upload content. No, Craig, this does not allow you to upload a SCORM as a pre-file. All right, not yet. Maybe eventually, but not yet. The idea, you can use text documents, like Word documents, PDFs, or PowerPoints, or really Word documents or PDFs. So you'd probably have to convert your PowerPoints into PDFs as well. So PDF documents really generally for this. It's not adding, you can't add video content as prompting, and you can't add SCORM files as prompting as well. This is going to generate you a SCORM file. It's not editing SCORM files. Hopefully that answers that question. All right. Apologies, guys, about my voice. It's not fun. Um, the other things you can do is if you've got an image, and let's say one of these things is a little bit wrong and you want to edit it, you can actually use AI to edit it as well, or you can replace the image, or you can change the image settings, you can crop the image, whatever you want, right? So if I go to add, you can just type in a prompt and it will edit the images. Um, you've got ability to add in interactive activities like flip cards, hotspots, or step slides, right? This will allow you to add them in as slides. Um, and flip cards are automatically added to the system and you can edit those. But hotspots are not, so you can add a hotspot and throw in some bit of information. I'll do that. I might actually add one in just to show you. But before I do, the other thing here, you'll notice that flip cards are automatically added. They're automatically added with text on image. So service goals, here is the title, and then the backing of the flip card is this one here. I can also make, let's say I want to go service goals. I want to put that into the back of it. Just put that there and make that a heading. Center it. All right. And I just want to turn this into an image only. You can go image, and I could add an image. Let's just replace this image with a browser free image library image. So we have two free image libraries for copyright free images. So you can do that. If I go Unsplash, I like Unsplash better. Service levels. I don't know what it's going to come up with. Who cares? The idea is you can search it. There we go. Just add that one. Oh, service goals. Oh well, never mind. That'll do. And then I'll save it. Oh, save it. Um, so that's the sort of flip cards you can edit. That's all I'm saying. If I want to add in loading, come on. I want to add in a hotspot for a second here as well. So maybe I want to turn this into a hotspot. Service goals, role clarity. On these three sections, I want to turn into a hotspot. So let's do that. Actually, what am I doing? Duplicate content here. I've got two of the same thing, and I'll just remove the bottom, remove everything from just have the text. And then I'll remove all the bottom stuff. Yeah. So these are going to go into my hotspot. So I'm going to do that. Hotspot. Sorry, with the internet connection, sometimes during these webinar sessions, it gets a bit slow, but you wouldn't find this slowness like that here. Oh, where did it go? It added it to the bottom. Okay, never mind. Delete that one. Try again. There we go. It was here. There we go. So this is the hotspot here. I did it for both. What's this? Let's just do the same. Add images, that's right. This one will do. Doesn't really matter what we're putting in here. And you'll see there's hotspots. So I can then go and add these service goals into one hotspot. You can see the idea of what I want to do. But you guys can do your own editing. And now that has service goals in it, right? And now I can delete that service goal. So the idea was I'm going to add those three into hotspots on this image. Very cool stuff. All right. Questions is, can we use our update our existing SCORM courses? I've already answered that one just before with Craig Smither. You can't upload any SCORM into here. You'll have to use Word documents of some description to be able to do that. It's not like if you've used Articulate to create a SCORM file, this is not Articulate. So it is its own thing and it will generate you a SCORM. Cheryl asks, for accredited training and units of competency, will it provide a mapping document to the elements of performance criteria? No, Cheryl. This will not automatically create you a mapping document. No. Again, that will be done in your training resource creator. This one will not do that. I would suggest what it will do is be very structured according to the unit of competency. So you'll find that it'll be very easy to map it, but it won't map it for you. And that's a good step by step. I would encourage you to come through, review all the content that's written here. It's AI generated. It's not going to be 100% perfect. It's going to get you a long way of the way there, but you still need to review any content that you put into the system and make sure that it's mapped to what you need to do. Right? So yeah, it gets you a long way, but not all the way. Mapping documents are something separate. All right. Makes sense, guys. I'm going to save that. Show you what these flip cards and hotspots look like in a second. Oh, how's our thing going? Let's see. Oh, adding final ingredient. It's almost done. That's good. Actually, before I do, I'm just going to also touch on the last couple of things in here. You'll notice that there's a media tab here. Media allows you to add in videos, audio, document viewers, right? AI assistant will allow you to do text to speech for the whole course, maybe generate case study scenarios. Maybe you're not happy with the ones that are there, you can generate your own. It'll do that. This, I love the idea. I just want to do text to speech because I feel like that's really relevant. A lot of SCORM creator things create horrible audio files. I think this is different. I think you'll find that the audio that these generate, yes, some are more robotic voices than others, but I think you'll find that, like let's say if I go William Australia, um, that the audio that it generates, it pauses at the right moment so it doesn't seem like it's a robot. But yeah, again, some voices are more robotic than others. So just have a play, see what you like. You can always add your own audio in there as well if you don't want to generate the content, because that also uses generation credits to do that as well. So if I hit go, I can't hear this. Can everyone else hear this? No. Okay. I I I tried to share with audio. Never mind. Um, Either way, try it yourself. You won't be able to do this in the trial though. You'll have to do this once you got your courses, but it's up to you how you want to use it. That's basically the editing process. I'm going to hit a preview so you can sort of see what it looks like. And it's been edited. See how it's a hotspot. Cool. And that's a flip card with the image. But yeah. Any questions on any of that? Or is that clear? I think we're clear. All right. How are we going? Oh, course is complete. Yay. I also wanted to touch on my non-accredited. I've got a non-accredited course as well. It doesn't matter. This one here, I think, is a really good example of non-accredited. I have a client that I'm working with that have created an envisioning empowerment workshop for Aboriginal communities. Um, I noted that there is usage credits. What is the average? Yes, I'll get to that nicer. I'll go through costings and everything. Um, Obviously, there's no set number. It's used based on what you put into it, but you can get a really good idea of how many it uses. I would The average is about 1 million per course, right? So just use 1 million as an average, as an example, but it could be more, it could be less, it can be significantly more. If you've done clustering and things like that, it's going to be more, right? So it'll depend on what you're doing, but generally a unit is about 1 million. This one here, I love the idea because what I did with this one is I added in, they had like a document of their envision, they called it their Bible of what they use with this particular workshop. And they sort of, it was like 50 pages of what they do. And there was also a PowerPoint. And I used both of these in the generation here. I love the idea that it's brought in the Aboriginal artwork in through everything. It has lots of Aboriginal artworks. The other thing here noted, this one, our community, our strength, was their tagline of the company. So it's captured the information from the document that's uploaded, and it's really thought about how it's going to promote it. The other really cool one is the yarning wheel, which is really cool artwork for a diagram or flowchart diagram, which is really cool. So that's something to note. They seem to like it, and I think it's a really good example of how this is done. Oh, it's all done. That's it. That's it. Yeah, that's the one we just created. So there we go. So it's the same one. Obviously, it's going to be different than the one we just did. You can see how it's very different. So it's not ridiculously different, but it is different. Diagrams, they're all new diagrams. It gives you an idea. The same content, exactly the same prompting, and it's generated a whole different course. So every time you do it, it's going to generate a different course. All right, let's go into pricing. Oh, actually, before I do, so to download a SCORM file, you just click the download, right? Generally, I go SCORM 1.2. That's the best, better version of it. But some of the providers will, depending on what sort of LMS you have, some of the providers will require you to do enable simple sequencing. So you can tick that. and that'll only allow you to do SCORM 2004 4th edition. So some providers only allow you to do it this way. Mostly, I would do 1.2 as an example, but yeah, see how you go. Simple sequencing is a simplified version of the SCORM, so we generally recommend 1.2. All right. So that's downloading a SCORM. When you go back here, I'm just going to go back to the course page, course list page. You'll notice that we've generated two versions of this. So this one that we've just generated, this is how many generation credits that you ended up using. 713,000 generation credits for that one. We've edited this other one and added a text to audio. So this one will probably be more. Oh no, less. There you go, 691. That's all they've used, right? So you can check how many credits you've used. There's also a section in your subscription page that allows you to check how many you have left in your packages, right? The other thing to note here, we've got preview links, free preview iframes, which can embed it into a website, and we have enable LTI. So if you're enabling LTI, what it'll do is it'll be keys. It'll connect them via keys into your LMS. So you have to set them up and connect them via the keys. There is a help guide on that if you're using our LMS. You can use the keys to to connect to via LTI, and there's a bit of a help guide on it. Do I have any final questions here before I jump into costings? No? Okay, great. Feel free to ask me. I'll come back to it if I need to. All right, let's go to costs. You can trial this for free for 14 days, and I'll give you a trial link and a promo code so you'll be able to do that, guys. So the costings work this way. I think everyone was Australian based, so I think you'll use the AU dollars. Just know that there's other dollar. If you do US dollars, euros, whatever, it'll sort of default to your country. Now, monthly plans start at $89 a month. That only gives you 1.7 million generation credits per month, right? So you saw us use almost a million in the last couple of generations. Just note you might get two out of a month, but you can always purchase extra generation credits here. $42 for a million credits. So that gives you an idea on costings. Maximize steps you up, and it exponentially gets better as you grow, as you go into higher tiers. Gets you a lot more generation credits each month. It's tailored. If I go annual, the benefits are exponentially better over the annual period. So the pro is actually really cost effective. Most people go with maximize because it's that step up and it's not that much more, and you get a whole lot more generation credits each month. But the idea is that you're meant to get a base number of credits because mostly people do generations at the start and then they want to edit courses much during their period. So they don't need a whole lot of generation credits every month, just a base amount. And then as you add more courses, you can purchase the generations to add more. So yeah, 2 users. So 50 gig of storage. Storage is how much is it stored in the actual system. So if you're linking YouTube videos, it's not going to use storage or much storage. It'll just be some text. If you upload videos, it's going to use more storage, right? That's just the way it sort of works there. The course limit isn't monthly. This is overall course limit in the platform. So 120 courses inbuilt, so you can add courses until you get to 120 courses, and then it won't let you add any more without upgrading. Right? You can also delete courses, and that'll come off this as well. So yeah, I would always go annual just so that you get to download the SCORM files and keep a copy of the course. But either way, you can connect it. The annual just gives you that SCORM and gives you a discount off of the monthly fee. Yeah. Any questions there? Okay, before what I might do is come back to this. So say 14 day free trial. The monthly special for this month is 25% off for your first 2 months. So for the annual subscription, it'll take for the first 2 months. It'll take the discount based on the first 2 months. And the annual discount code there, org26A or and org26M for the monthly. So feel free to scan that QR code. I'll leave it on this while I'm answering any questions, any feedback you have, anything like that. Feel free to type into the tool. I'll just hold it there. Has everyone learned what they needed to? We've managed to get it down to 51 minutes. That's always good. Nicer, did you get? Does that make sense about the usage credits? Did you have any questions on that? No, you good? Okay, cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna leave this here. Oh, hold on. We got another question. Oh, we got another question. Cheryl asks, once you've created your courses, you won't need to continue to subscribe to have access to them. Yes, you will have access to them in the system, right? If you get on the annual subscription, obviously you'll have the subscription for a year. So if you then download the SCORM files, then yeah, you don't need to keep it past the year. But just know that you'll probably want to edit them. And when you edit them, you'll want to use the system. So most people just keep their package generally just so that they can edit them later. You won't be able to use any other SCORM tool to edit them. So you'll need to use this system to edit them. All right. Let's leave it there. Feel free, if you have any questions, feel free to ask after. You'll get an email from the team. Oh, hold on, one more. We're trying to catch up with pricing. The pricing is per month or per year, just like recalibration. Okay, yes, let's do that. I'll re-clarify that for you, Bradley. No problems. I just went through it. So, monthly or annual, the difference between monthly and annual is that you get the SCORM file downloads for the annual. If I go monthly, you can connect via LTI to your systems, but you will need to continue to keep that subscription so that course stays available on your LMS, right? So $89 per month is the base package. Pro is $299 a month. That gives you a whole lot of generation credits. So yeah, the credits don't change for the different tiers. They just change the pricing. You get a discounted price for the annual, and you get the SCORM downloads. Right? So that's the annual. Hopefully that answers that question, Bradley. You'll get a link to this page too with your email afterwards as well. So you'll be able to have a look at that. And you get that 14-day free trial too. So you'll be able to try it for 14 days with 2 courses, and it won't give you all the tools. You'll only get most of the tools, so you get a good idea of it. But you won't get all the tools. All right. I'm going to leave it there. Feel free to ask any questions later. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.